I heard 10 minutes, that's what I heard. I know, sorry my iPad's stuck. Okay, I'm gonna go fast today, guys. Jason Okalski from... Oh, that's right. You've been keeping up. Jason Okalski, Burrillville, Rhode Island. So Director Coit, Chairman Coran, Director Agarwal, here we are again. And it's been quite a journey, hasn't it? Very public position that you guys are in. And we've all been thrust into roles that I don't think we necessarily asked for, but yet require us to stand up and to do the right thing. Burrillville has in many ways become ground zero in one of the biggest battles of our time that determines, I think, and I've become to understand in a much greater way, will determine our very future. So I've stated my position in the past. I think you guys know I'm opposed to the Clear River Energy Center in my beloved town of Burrillville, Rhode Island, where I live with my family. I'm opposed to this plant based on the totally inappropriate location amongst many of our most important natural resources, conservation areas, and state parks. I'm opposed to the plant because it requires us to clear cut hundreds of acres of beautiful interior forest. I'm opposed to the plant because it requires millions of gallons of water a year. We know water is an increasingly scarce resource. In fact, power plants in the US, I was surprised to find out, use 48% of the available fresh water in the United States. That's quite a bit that power plants use. And I think we all know that less than 1% of the water is available for use, fresh water for use on the planet. So yeah, I'm opposed to the plant for all of these reasons that everybody's stated, including risk to my family, their health, and I'm opposed to the plant because of climate change. And frankly, I think we can do better. So of course you know myself and thousands of other citizens in the state that have signed the petition are against the plant, as well as every single environmental group in Rhode Island. Yes. Such as Audubon Society, Rhode Island Nature Conservancy, Rhode Island Save the Day, Sierra Club, and so many more, along with a host of other groups like Blackstone Valley Tourism Council, the Blackstone River National Heritage Corridor, and pretty much and exactly every entity that's been asked for an opinion from Burrillville have all come out opposed to the plant. And it's funny because if you're from Burrillville and you're opposed to the plant, it becomes a NIMBY issue, right? If you're outside of Burrillville and you're opposed to the plant, then you're some sort of crazy environmentalist. And I think we all know that there's some middle ground here, and there's some valid reasons that people could be concerned about this. So what's the new today for me to share with you? I'd like to talk about two things. I'd like to talk very briefly about the process, and then I'd like to talk about the need for our plant and the current regional mix of energy creation and the risks to the stability of our grid. So let's quickly talk about the process. Many other people talked about that, so I'll keep that very brief. The governor has asked us to trust the process, yet it's hard for us when entity after entity has commented that they have not gotten the needed information that they need from Invenergy. And because they lost their water source, they got an extension. So it's hard for us to trust the process, and basically, frankly, because of the fact that they now have an incomplete application, and that according to many of the agencies that have stated that they've not provided acceptable information when asked, that right now, at this moment in time, we have no idea what their plan is for water, where it's going to come from, what's going to be in that water, that this application should be denied right now. So let's talk about the plan and the need for the plant and what alternatives we really have. ISO, who runs our electricity grid in New England, I know you guys know that, that's the benefit for all of us, lists, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, they list pipeline capacity as the #1 risk to our energy grid right now in New England. That's the #1 risk. So here we're going to build another plant that's going to require more natural gas. So that's in their annual report, and it's listed on their website right now. And Ellen Swanson-Katz of the Office of Consumer Counsel for Connecticut said during a panel discussion last year, part of an energy summit, a capacity deficiency is not a scare tactic. Taken to an extreme, that means rolling blackouts. We need more energy options. Okay, so pipeline capacity is maxed out. We have an over-reliance on natural gas for energy creation, and natural gas is no longer considered a bridge fuel. So what can we do? Well, luckily, clean energy jobs are here to help us with that, and that don't require massive amounts of water and can in fact create lots of good jobs for us. And when asked how to address the gap in megawatts coming off the grid, Stephen J. Rourke, the VP of System Planning for ISO, talked about the need to invest in the infrastructure and in the hybrid grid to support the influx of distributed resources. In fact, he listed in the queue 4,200 megawatts of wind energy, 3,800 of solar, and 3,800 in energy efficiency measures coming. I think that closes that gap. In fact, Mass is taking the lead to dictate that we bring in 2,800 megawatts of power from onshore wind and solar. So in closing, let me just make a brief comment about climate change. Climate change is settled science, and it's funny about how we agree upon that until presented with an option to make some money. But climate change is a macro issue, and those macro issues are won and lost at the micro level, at the local level. And I'm going to close with this. I was in Switzerland last week. My work took me there. I took the opportunity to go up to the Alps, to the mountains, to look at the glaciers, had the opportunity to actually walk through a glacier. Very cool. They are covering the glaciers with blankets in Switzerland. Blankets. That's what we're reduced to. This is climate change is a macro issue. It's won and lost at the micro level. This is one plant here in one town where we can affect this climate issue. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry, I have 3 items that I'm going to bring and leave you with. One is the report from ISO that I mentioned. The other is the complete list of entities that have come out opposed to the plant. The list is at 24 now. And then I'm also bringing some comments from my fellow Burrillville citizen, Mike Lamoureux, who couldn't be here tonight.
Thank you.